everybody, my name is Caitlin, and just before I start this video, I just want to put a little disclaimer out there that I have my son in the background. He's 7 months, so if you hear any little baby talking or toys going off, it's because he's here with me in the background. But I just wanted to make this video to inform people about what I've been experiencing the past 4 months with a viral virus that they have been diagnosed with, officially they call vestibular neuritis. Basically, it's just a issue with the vestibular system that causes a lot of different symptoms. One of them, the main symptoms being dizziness. That is persistent dizziness that does not go away. Well, in the beginning anyway. And it all starts with your inner ear, and for me this whole thing started with a sinus infection, and my ear just got affected and it took off from there, and I developed this neuritis and been battling with it for the past 4 months. So I just wanted to kind of describe what I have experienced in the past 4 months, and the only reason why I'm making this video is because I want to, kind of give insight maybe to some people who are dealing with the same problem right now, and maybe experiencing the same symptoms, and to what extreme, and what I did to help me recover, because I'm about 4 months in now, and I would say I'm about 90 to 95%, which I never thought I would get to when this whole thing started. And I'll tell you, it has been quite a journey, and I never will take for granted being in perfect health again, because even as I'm experiencing feeling normal again, I struggle with feeling normal, and I'll get more into that later. But anyways, this whole thing started for me about the end of August, going into Labor Day weekend. I got vertigo, and I just felt vertigo symptoms. Now, in the past, I have had vertigo due to seasonal allergies, so I know what vertigo is. I had experienced it before, so I thought, okay, it's just another case of vertigo, and it'll pass a couple days. Usually I took Claritin because it was due to my allergies, so the Claritin would help soak it all up, and I'd be back to normal. Well, this time, that wasn't the case, and I felt like it was vertigo, but there was something different about it versus all the other times that I knew something was not right, that something wasn't normal, and that was, I felt a rocking and swaying sensation like I was on a boat, and it was constant. It never went away. It was like, I would have it visually sometimes where I would see like things rocking, and then sometimes it was just in me. You know how people say, oh, it's all in your head? Yeah, sometimes I thought it was in my head, because I would be like, wait, I'm not seeing it visually, but I feel it. So anyway, as you know, if you suffer with this illness, your mind just plays tons of tricks on you, and you know that what you are feeling is real, but at the same time, you question yourself. It's a weird illness. And anyway, so I finally had enough of waiting for it to pass, because I went to urgent care. They gave me meclizine, and for me, meclizine in the past has never worked. It only made me worse, so I wasn't gonna try it. I was like, no, this isn't vertigo. Meclizine does not help vertigo. So anyway, they told me, well, just let it clear up, it should go away. I said, you're right. I gave it a week. A week passes, we're going on to 2 weeks, and I'm feeling worse. I feel more symptoms. I feel the dizziness, and the rocking and the swaying, but then I start to notice that I can't sit in a chair normally. I can't sit upright in a chair without feeling like my whole world is just moving, swaying, rocking. I would always tell people I feel like I'm on a boat that I just want this boat to stop. I just want to get off this boat. It was just driving me insane. And mind you, I have 2 sons, young sons. One is 2 and my son was 4 months at the time. So, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I was working part-time at the time. So everything, all my daily activities, everything, my normal life just came to a screeching halt because of this illness that took a while to be discovered and diagnosed. It took me a while to be diagnosed, and I finally just had it. I was trying to enjoy myself at a family gathering, and I just couldn't. I felt terrible. I just wanted to sleep. I had no energy. I felt nauseous from the constant motion. Every time I walked, it was like just boom, boom, and it was just terrible. So I told my husband, I said, you know what? I'm trying to fight through this, but I feel terrible, and here comes the anxiety. I was getting terrible anxiety, and I was like, we need to go to the emergency room now. And I'm not leaving until they figure something. They need to run every test. They need to do an MRI. They need to do everything, because there's got to be something more wrong. Of course, I didn't want anything bad, like, you know, brain-wise or anything, but naturally that's what I was thinking. Like, there's got to be something wrong in my brain, you know, for this to be going on this long, for me to feel this way, for all these other symptoms. And so, of course, he took me to the ER, and they do tests. Well, actually, they just took blood work. That's it. And they asked me about my symptoms, and they told me it's just BPPV, and it's a bad case, and sometimes it takes a couple weeks or a month to go away. So I'm like, okay, what can I say? This is a doctor telling me this, you know. They obviously know better than me. So I said, okay, you're right. They gave me Valiums, some diazepam, and I took it that night because I was in desperation. I just wanted the feeling to stop. I was tired of feeling this way. So they gave me the Valium and a Zofran, and I absolutely hate taking pills, you guys. I mean, I am just a weirdo when it comes to that. Like, I barely take Tylenol, and if I take it, it's because I have an excruciating headache or something. Like, it takes me a lot to take a pill of any kind. So I was like, what is, like, you know, this Valium, like, I'm not sure if it's gonna make me feel weird. I don't want it. Like, I was telling them, they're like, no, it's gonna help you, you know, it's gonna calm you down. You really, you know, you need to stay calm. This is why you're feeling more symptoms, because your anxiety and whatever. And of course, my husband just wants me to be calm, so he tells me, just take it, you're gonna be fine. You know, what if it helps and you're sitting here contemplating? So I'm like, okay, I take it, and I started feeling really good. Like, I honestly felt my symptoms weren't there. Like, we went to eat at In-N-Out because I was starving after we left the hospital, and I was able to sit there and eat and not feel like I was rocking. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is, you know, that might have been it. I think it's done. It's over with. But the next day, I woke up and I felt the rocking and swaying, but I tried to talk myself, you know, into it, into telling myself, like, you're okay, don't even start going there, it's just easing off, it's okay. And they told me, take more Valium if you need to. So of course, I know Valium isn't good for you. I'm not stupid, you know, and these, I definitely don't want to get hooked, or I didn't want to become reliant on that type of thing. And I'm not judging anybody who does use that, but for me, that's just personally what I didn't want to be on that. So anyway, I was trying to make it through the next day though, and I was feeling really bad. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take half of a Valium, and I'm gonna take half of a Valium and see what happens. And I was feeling better, but still had the rocking, still had that kind of motion. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then I just was like, you know what? Like I said, I'm not big on medication. I was like, you know what? It's not taking it away. So what's the point in me taking this stuff? I'm not going to be on this, and I don't want to become reliant on it, like I said. So I just said, forget it, you know, I'll wait another couple days and see if this passes. It never passed. And so we're going on about, I don't know, 4 weeks at this point. And during this whole thing, I was trying to remain as active as possible and live my life just as I was before. And I was still working at the time, even though I felt terrible. And it got to the point where I was calling off of work every day because as soon as I would wake up in the morning, I would feel the symptoms, and there's no way I could work. One morning I was getting ready for work and I was just like, I can't go. There's absolutely no way in the world I can go to work today like this. So again, I made a regular appointment with my regular doctor, told them all my symptoms and everything, and they go down the same road of the vertigo. It's just vertigo. It's just taking a while and whatever. And they suggested that maybe I go see an ENT. And I was like, okay, sure. Okay, so I made an appointment with an ENT. Well, while I was waiting for that appointment, I just had another episode. And I guess you can say anxiety attack, because during this illness, your anxiety is just through the roof. And because your head is constantly thinking, your wheels are constantly spinning about what is wrong with me, it causes a lot of other physical symptoms, just besides the dizziness. So I had another episode, and I told my husband I need to go back to the emergency room, and I am not leaving there until they do a full MRI of my head, of my brain, everything. There's got to be something wrong. I mean, my family members were seeing me, and they were like, there is something wrong, because I was so pale and flushed and everything. I was losing weight. I lost almost 10 pounds. And they were like, you need answers and you need them now. So I went back to the emergency room again, and they did a whole lot of nothing. They did an MRI, and they just put me on IV, more blood work, and thank God the MRI came back 100% normal and perfect. But I still didn't get my answers, so I was like, gosh, where do I go from here? Well, anyways, left the ER that day, and then I went to my ENT appointment, and here's kind of where I started to get my answers. Of course, they did an audio test on me to check my hearing. My hearing came back 100% perfect on both sides, and so that was good. But he did some testing on me, like some push and pull testing, some sit in the chair, let me spin you testing, and he kept discovering that I would, you know, kind of sway or fall to the left side. So he was suspicious of my left ear being the affected ear, and he's the one that told me, I think this is a case of vestibular neuritis. And, you know, based off of like how you look, he was like, you don't look bad, you don't, you know, you were able to come in here, you didn't come in here in a wheelchair or anything, so I'm thinking that this will be over for you in about 2 weeks. He told me, you know, get on some Zyrtec because of my seasonal allergies. Get on some Zyrtec, do some of these exercises every morning, noon and night, and it should help you get your brain back in perspective and everything. And he's like, you know, do this for 2 weeks straight every day and call back if it doesn't go away. So I do it for 2 weeks, kind of feel a little bit better, but then I just knew I wasn't 100%. So I called back in 2 weeks, and they're like, well, we don't have any appointments until about 2 months from now. So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I literally need somebody today, not 2 months from now. Like, I need help, you know? So I just start looking for other ENTs in the area, and I go to someone else, same thing. They tell me, yes, bad case of vestibular neuritis, wanted to put me on prednisone, and sent me on my way. Well, in like 2 days later, I ended up having another ER trip, and this time I went to a better hospital in my area, a really reputable hospital, and they did a ton of testing and they took a lot. It was actually on my birthday that I spent the whole day in the hospital, but it was worth it because, you know, they just made sure everything, I was in good health, and I am in perfect health besides this neuritis. But anyway, they referred me to a neurologist, and so finally I go to the neurologist and he tells me, I don't think prednisone is a good idea for you. You're so far into this that the prednisone can cause worse side effects than what you're already experiencing, and we don't want to battle with side effects and your dizziness. He's like, I recommend you stay off of it. I think you're at the tail end of this neuritis, and you are like right there, because I was starting to feel a little bit better than I did in the beginning. At this point, we're 2 months in, so I'm at 2 months in, and he's like, you know, I really think your testing, I tested your reflexes, everything, you're like perfect, there's absolutely nothing wrong, you know, that I can see, but I just don't think you should get on anything because I think it might make you worse. And so of course I hear that and I'm like, nope, scared of medication here. I'm not getting on that. So I didn't do it, and he told me, if your symptoms worsen within the next 5 days, call me back and we'll start you on the prednisone. Maybe it'll make a difference, but I don't want to, I'm worried about the side effects. But he's like, if you don't get better, call me back. So I'm like, okay. So I leave there that day feeling pretty good because I'm like, you know what? I felt like he was really honest. He told me, stay off Valium, stay off all that other stuff. Those are just suppressants. They're not going to help you. It's actually going to prolong your recovery. So just stay away from those, and just, you need to naturally let your body heal. So I said, okay, heck, I'm 2 months into this already. I've felt everything. I've been through the worst of the worst, those terrible anxiety. I actually started getting numbness on my whole left side, and I was freaking myself out so bad that my body was just in absolute shock. I would go on walks and take my kids for walks, and my legs would come back. They would ache. My legs would ache, and they would feel so limp, you know, like, and it was just from all the stress and anxiety, and my whole body was just like, please, my body was like, you're putting me in a trance. Like, it was terrible. My body was crying for help. Please stop, you know, but I couldn't get my brain to stop thinking. Like, I couldn't, you know, if you suffer with this, I know you understand what I mean, but my wheels were constantly spinning, and I struggled with trying to cope with it, you know, and this being my new normal. Like, I had to accept at some point that this was my life, and that I had to overcome this, and I had to, you know, stay put together for my kids. I had no choice but to, you know, take care of them every day, morning, noon, and night, 24/7. So I had to get my act together, and it was really difficult. But anyways, after I seen that neurologist, I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of seeing so many doctors. They really weren't that helpful. Everybody was just kind of tossing around everybody's ideas, and they never really gave me help at all. I'm just going to put that out there. There's no doctor that really helped me. There wasn't. It was all really my own research, my own daily activities and things I did to help heal myself. No doctors really helped me. I was not on any medications, no, nothing. So this is all self-healing, okay? So basically that was about 2 months in, like I said, and then 3 months, still feeling the symptoms. Still every day I'd wake up. I developed that weird sensation where I would walk and I would feel like I was walking on a trampoline. I would try to explain it to the doctors, but they were clueless about this symptom. But I would walk and I would feel like under my heels and my feet, like if they had little springs, it would just, I still have that symptom, not as bad, but it still lingers. But anyway, even when I would stand straight, I would actually feel like I was sinking into the floor, or I would do this, like, or this. And every time I would try to explain to a doctor or a friend or a family member, they would all just look at me like, I think you're just psyching yourself out. And I'm like, no, I'm not. These are real symptoms. And so eventually I just started, you know, thinking like, okay, how am I going to help myself? Because family and friends, even though they kind of tried to have sympathy, nobody understood what I was going through, mentally, physically. Nobody knew that I was actually extremely sick, and there was nothing that could help me. And this was different from, you know, sick from the flu. You know, at least the flu kind of goes away. This, I had no, to me, I mean, I didn't want to be negative, but it was hard to be positive because I'm like, when is the end? Is the end near? You know, doctors would tell me, oh, 2 more weeks, 2 more months, a month. And I'm like, when is this ending? Because I would hit that 2 weeks and I'd be like, still have it, now what? So anyway, it was just, I was hopeless for a while. And then I'm coming up on 4 months now, and I feel about 90 to 95%, and I had a few relapses, and like Thanksgiving was terrible. I felt like I was starting to feel good, and then I had a bad relapse. But I think what the cause of that was a bad anxiety attack, and so it made my symptoms feel worse. But anyway, I've been improving so much, and I think I'm pretty stable where I'm at because I'm going on 2 weeks feeling really good, like slight dizziness, or slight to none, really. And I don't think I've hit that 100% yet, but I feel like I'm right there. And it's just really encouraging because it just encourages me to keep going, get out there, you know, do stuff, live normally as much as possible, enjoy the holidays, everything. And I think that all helps so much with recovery. I think your mental state is a big part of it, and I know it's hard to be positive, but you have to try. I remember going into stores in the beginning and literally looking for my car. Everything seemed like it was falling off the shelves, and I remember being so hopeless and just trying to drive, and I stopped working during this whole thing, and that was something I enjoyed so much. So this illness took so much from me, but at the same time I gained so much. I became so much more involved in God spiritually, and I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and it just brought me so much closer to God, and it showed me who He really is, that He still heals, that He still performs miracles. And I believe that I wouldn't have came out of this or through this without Him. I wouldn't have. I can guarantee you that 100%. I think I am where I am today because I got my act together. I got myself in that Bible. I gave 100% of my day and everything to God, and not just because I wanted healing, but because I knew that this is my only way to get through this. You know, there's no medication, there's nothing doctors can do for me, so I need strength. And where did I get it from? I got it from God, and I just am so grateful for that. And I've grown so much spiritually, and I wouldn't change it for anything. I'm at the point where I'm almost happy that this happened to me because it changed me as a person. It changed my perspective on what's important, my outlook on life, and I feel like it's made me a better person. I really, this illness is just so debilitating, and it's dark, and it's scary, and it's not a lot of doctors, I think, even have knowledge of the whole thing yet. But you know what? Just search for peace. If you believe in God, seek God. He will help you. He will be there for you. He already healed you. It's a promise. It's a fact. It's the truth. And you just have to seek Him. If not, you know, my other suggestions would be just live life the way you were before. I forced myself to get out there, get to those stores, go eat at restaurants, go hang out with friends. I forced myself to get out of bed and to stop feeling sorry for myself. And I think that was a lot of what had to do with my brain being able to compensate. I used to take my kids for walks purposely and drive myself crazy, walking on the side of the road that all the cars were going by so fast, and even though it was like so painful and visually painful, I made myself do it no matter what. And I think that's how I got over this. And every day I go in the store now, I have no problem at all. No problems in the stores. I feel completely normal. Last night I went to a friend's graduation. I went to dinner after, and I felt amazing. And I kept thinking, I kept looking for symptoms. Stupid, I know. But I kept looking for symptoms that, like, wait, do I really feel normal right now? I have to feel dizzy. I actually would sit there and be like, wait, which is absolutely dumb. But I feel great, and I just, if you have this illness or if you have anything else, I would love to pray for you. If you would like, please leave your name in the comments. I will pray for you, and I really just wish you the best. And there is healing. There is an end to this, and I just wish you the best.